I never actually got to enjoy the weekend. I never got to enjoy the weekend, and here's why. It was Kenny Smith's, this was my first All-Star. It was Kenny Smith's party, right? And I'm not gonna say who the NBA player was that got told this, but he was trying to holler at a girl. And the girl said, "Why are you even here? Shouldn't you be working on your game so you can be an all-star?" Trying to holler at girls off of real all-stars' names. I was like, ooh, note to self, never come to the all-star if you don't make it.
Welcome to No Chill with Gilbert Arenas. I'm Mike Botticello. He's Gilbert Arenas. In an all-star jersey, it's Kevin Garnett.
KG, baby.
KG Vegas?
KG West, Vegas.
Vegas, 2007.
2007.
It's a good year. But we had to deal with, this is an emergency edition of No Chill, because we're getting ready for All-Star 2021, and you saw what happened, and it did not sit right with you. So you called me up and said, hey, we gotta really improve what's going on.
We gotta improve this all-star system.
It's an algorithm, according to you, not a theory that you have, but how it works.
How it works.
So let's kick it off. I mean, first of all, All-Star, you were 3 times an All-Star. It's an honor. It's a great part of your career. And this year is different, right? It's a short weekend. It's not really the party that it normally is. Because the All-Star break is how many days off for a player?
Depends on what team you're on.
Yeah.
You know, if you're on a LeBron team, then you're gonna have the longest. You're gonna have the longest break. So you'll end at probably on a Tuesday, and then you don't have to play again to another Tuesday, Wednesday. Most teams are done Wednesday, and then Wednesday, and then you go, and then you're back playing Tuesday or Monday. So so some guys get 5 days off. Depending on who you are, your team will get almost eight days off.
And obviously not a player, but I've been to 5 All-Star weekends, and Wednesday is the day that you arrive, right? And that's when the players kind of get in there, Wednesday and then Thursday, travel day. And the parties happen. That's, Thursday night, Friday night's a good night, Saturday night's even better. And the whole experience, you have the events on Friday, the rookie sophomore game now, and then you have Saturday, you have the skills competition, a celebrity game. Can't forget that on Friday. Skills competition,
and the dunk
contest, 3-point contest is the other thing. And then you have the game. So these chain of events, it's a great experience. And the league sort of pauses and it becomes a celebration. I'm talking about for the fans.
For the fans, I never actually got to enjoy the weekend. I never got to enjoy the weekend, and here's why. It was Kenny Smith's, this was my first All-Star. It was Kenny Smith's party, right? And I'm not gonna say who the NBA player was that got told this, but he was trying to holler at a girl. And the girl said, "Why are you even here? Shouldn't you be working on your game so you can be an all-star?" Trying to holler at girls off of real all-stars' names. I was like, ooh, note to self, never come to the all-star if you don't make it. And
that's a lesson to all you young players.
And that's what I took away from it, like, yeah, that's like you technically celebrating someone else's success. It's like this weekend is because of the guys who actually put in the work to make it, and you're here basically freeload, and that's how I always approached it. I'm never gonna go anywhere if I'm not part of that event. You know what I mean? But that kind of messes up like everything in my life, like, movie premiere. I'm not in this movie, the hell I want to go to the red carpet for. And it kind of like...
Well, you want to see the movie first.
I want to, sometimes, but it's like the red carpet event going there, like, what the hell, what do y'all care? I'm not in this movie, I'm just...
But you get to go down the red carpet and take...
But that's what I'm saying, but I don't want to go down the red carpet.
It's worth it. There's a party All-Star weekend, so I was gonna guess that guy was Barkley, but I guess it was an active player at the time.
It was an active player at the time,
But
yeah.
then those retired players, it's a great time because you have a ton of appearances. Because that's the other thing that goes on. It's basically a convention. So Adidas has a spot or American Express, and you go and you get a bag just to show up for it.
Yeah, I mean, for the old guys, just being around the game again. Yeah, I understand it, but when you're an active player and that line
Unless
guy,
you're getting paid to go there.
that line was too powerful for me. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be working on your game? Like, that hurts. Yeah.
But this year is different. It's so short. So everything's packed into one day, everything being the three-point contest, skills competition, game, dunk contest at halftime. So look, it's a different year. Obviously, I think the tradition continues because for a lot of guys, it's a great thing for your resume, and if you get
no matter if it
voted
was
in or chosen, it's a great resume.
No matter if it was a short season or a long season, you still want your all-star nod. Just to say I made it this year, no matter what the circumstances are, I want that, even if there's no game, I want to be labeled an all-star. So on my resume, I get that.
Well, let's look at who made it, and even that is who's on the list, even if they're not playing, it still goes on their career list. So on East, you have Kevin Durant, Giannis, Brad Beal, Joel Embiid, Kyrie as your starters. Then you have Harden, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle. First Nick on there in a long time. And Nikola Vukovic. Orlando Magic player, got to be on there in a long time. So of that list, that's who's there. And the Western Conference is LeBron, always going to be there. Steph Curry, Kawhi, Luka, the Joker. Those are your starters. Then you have Chris Paul back. Dame, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, Zion for the first time, AD, who was injured and then was replaced by. So that's who's there. That's who was voted in, selected, and replaced. So, I mean, for what we have there, always the thing that everybody looks at are who's snubbed and who doesn't make it, and I think that's part of it. But we looked around at a few things. Do you have your list of snubs before we go into the official snubs? Because I think there's a lot of factors.
I don't have no list of snubs.
Okay, good. I'll go through mine then.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of factors. Popularity, first of all. It's stats. And then if you look at what guys did last season and this season, it's improvement or not. So in the East, I think the number one guy everybody is looking at is Trae Young. Numbers that jump out for him, 27 a game, 4 boards, 9 assists. I'm going to throw another guy out there, Sabonis.
Yes.
I knew it. Somebody random. It had to be somebody random. Sabonis going for 21, 11 boards, 5 assists. So with that in mind, who are your Eastern snubs?
There's only 2 snubs. It's Trae Young and Sabonis are the only 2 snubs I have.
I threw those names in there, but I'll even tell you this. I think when you look at the numbers and also standings, we'll get into that in a bit. I actually say the East is pretty spot on. Is there anybody on the East that made it that you would replace with Trae?
Oh yeah,
Sabonis?
there's a few.
Okay, who would that be?
There's a few people.
Okay.
That.
Well, the floor is yours.
For the East?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start off with teams, right? So usually every year when we go through this All-Star, they always pull 2 players from the number 1 team. The problem with this is if the second player is not playing at an All-Star level, you're still picking him. So I'm questioning the very first team, Philly. Is Ben Simmons having a better year than players that were snubbed? At 15, 8, and 7, his numbers are actually down. So next up is Randall, averaging 23, 10, and 5. But your team is in 10th place, right? 10th place. And then Orlando, which team's in 12th? Nikolai has 23-11. So how do you justify those two power forwards over Sabonis and his team is actually in 4th place with the same numbers? 21, 11, and 5 versus 23, 10, and 5, 23, 11, and 3. You have the same numbers, but one guy has a better team with circumstances of trades. So he's really carrying this team. Because the guy that came in, who was Jersey, young fella that got traded there, who's not playing, Levert, who's not playing. So it's basically, he's carrying his team to 4th place. So how is he actually not in the All-Star? You know, it's not
And
even.
he was an All-Star last year. And
That's not even a snub. That's just basically screw you. That's just screw you. There's no way that you pick 2 other forwards over him. He is the top forward when it comes to production and winning.
We'll get to the West, but I'm pretty sure that's what Mike Connolly said it's not just a snub, it's a complete diss.
And then, so you have those 2 questions, and then you have Trae Young, right? I don't even know how you actually justify not having him in.
I think if you look at the backcourt, who's in there, I mean, it's Kyrie, Brad Beal, Harden.
No. We're talking about reserves and reserves only.
I'm just giving you some logic here. I'm with you actually on Sabonis. I think actually Vukovic was the guy that jumped out at me. I was like, how the hell did he make it? His numbers are solid, but I would swap out Sabonis for him. Keep Randall. Randall has been doing work.
Okay, hey, I don't care who you keep. I just know one's supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have...
And because they look at him as a center.
Who?
When it comes to filling out the roster. I disagree with that, but...
Who looks at him as a center?
Putting in they needed a second big.
Well, they should have... They don't have... You can't pick centers anymore. They put him as a forward. Mm-hmm. So don't give us that whole center shit when you took that...
Forward.
Yeah, you took that whole category out. You know, you took the category out, so... We don't want to hear that, we need this extra big man. That's not fair to someone who's actually better. Mm-hmm. And then same thing with Trae Young. How do you justify, because if we actually rank, if you want to rank the best players in the Eastern Conference as the reserves, who's ranked 1?
I can go Harden.
Harden's number 1. Who's number 2 as a reserve? The second best player in the Eastern Conference.
I might want to say Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine. Mm-hmm. Who is the 3rd best player in the Eastern Conference?
But you're also looking at offense numbers. We got to talk a little defense. Give Simmons some credit for his defense. But
who is the 3rd best player in the Eastern Conference?
You want to go with Trae Young. I know what you want to say.
Okay. So Trae Young is, everybody will say Trae Young is the 3rd, out of these reserves, Trae Young is the 3rd best player in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So just now, so right now, it's flawed. It's flawed because they're gonna say, well, his record. Well, New York's record, they have a player. In Orlando, they have a player, and look at his record. So you can't use the record now. You can't use the record if there's 2 players on there who actually have bad records. So you have a flawed system when the 3rd best player is actually not on the team. So those are my 2 snubs, and those are the 3 players that I will be questioning with their numbers. How are these considered all-stars if one is having a down year, but his team gotten better? Your team's gotten better. You added players to your team, which has gotten your team better. You as an individual is not playing at an all-star level.
But what happens when the individual performance outweighs the record? So I'm looking at Bradley Beal. Right? He had to make it. His numbers, phenomenal.
But no. See, now, there comes the dilemma too. He made it as a starter. The fans picked that. You can't, when the starters are getting picked by the fans, that overweighs everything. That has nothing to do with winning. That's popularity. Mm-hmm. So he was a popular player this year. So his winning and where his team's at has no bearing on this.
So let's say, and this could have happened, Harden, really popular in Brooklyn, New York, big market. He could have made it as a starter based on popularity and votes. Would Brad be a reserve?
Brad would have been a reserve and probably wouldn't have made this team.
That's what I'm thinking. Because, yeah, you look at their record, terrible.
Yeah, so they were that's what I said. He could have been.
He is balling.
But he could have been snubbed.
Right.
And that's where snubs come from.
Okay. So put a pin in that. All right. And let's look over in the West. Actually, when you do look at the numbers, I don't really think in the West they got it wrong.
In the West, they did get it wrong. Only one player was wrong.
Booker.
Yeah.
Who's actually in?
But you can't say he's in because he got snubbed.
Okay.
It's part of the system. He was snubbed. So what's funny is if AD decides to play, what would they do? If AD came out tomorrow and said, I'm playing in the All-Star, what happens to Booker?
Well, I want to ask that because I think at some point, because if the coaches are picking the reserves, right? They say we can pick this group, we can leave him out because we know there's going to be injury, replacement. So because to me, the name that jumped out was Paul George, because we know what Paul George is capable of. I don't think he's having that Paul George level season yet. We're only halfway through it. So Booker is having a Booker season. So why did he get left out would be the question.
Yes, that is the big question. How did Booker get left off? But the guy who passes the ball to Booker is in. So the questions are, how are you? I mean, I know how this is happening.
Yeah, I feel like you're gonna tell
but
us.
I don't want to tell you now.
Okay.
But so when I look at this, there was one person who got snubbed, who truly got snubbed, who deserved it. His team is in 4th spot. He's averaging 25, 6, and 4. Right?
Right.
From there, I don't want people to think I'm picking on this guy. But how does Zion Williams get in? And his team is 11th. And he's averaging 25, 6, and 3. The numbers are not here for you to overshadow someone in the 4th spot. If you took Zion's number and put him in the East, how do you, those big men, they're averaging double doubles. So 25 and 6 and your team is 11th. How does that put you over a guy who's averaging 25, 3, and 4 and sitting in 4th spot?
Who would you say would be the next front court player that should have got in after Zion? If you're gonna put him at the bottom, what's the cutoff?
What do you mean the cutoff?
After him, who's coming next?
After him?
Yep. I'll tell you who. His teammate,
Brandon Ingram. Okay, see, that's part of the problem. You're part of the problem.
I guess so.
You're part of the problem because you're trying to categorize Hugo. It's player. This is not the starters. It's not 2 guards, 2 forwards, and whatever. It's the best reserves. So if the best reserves is all big men, God damn it, it's all big men. If it's all guards, it's all guards.
That's if you look at all these guys that we have in the snub category, they're all guards because guards put up the numbers. They're scoring more. You're looking at offense, except for Rudy Gobert and maybe Ben Simmons. There's not a lot of attention to defense. So if we look at just offensive numbers.
And you say Rudy Gobert was averaging 14 and 12? Are those really
sexy offensive numbers? No.
No, is it really all-star numbers? Or I'm pretty sure his team is number 1. So number 1, we're just gonna grab number 2. That's how Middleton was making it with
a defensive specialist.
But that's how Middleton was making it with his mediocre numbers. There was one year where I think it was last year.
Yeah.
All his numbers was bad. From the 3-point percentage to his assists, rebound, everything was down.
They weren't bad. Yeah, they went down.
Everything went down, and you actually make the All-Star. but you're not playing like an. How are you making an all-star if you're not actually playing like an all-star? You can't hold everybody to their record. A record doesn't make an actual all-star. The play does. It's the best players that makes the all-star.
So, okay, you're not picking on him, but what do you want to say about Zion?
He shouldn't have been in front of Devin Booker.
Okay.
I mean, the number, if I said your team is in, if you take away the names and I said, hey, this guy's in 4th spot, his team is 4th, he's averaging 25, 3, and 4. And then you have this guy who's in the 11th spot, he's averaging 25, 6, and 3. Who do you take? If you take away the name, 100% of everyone is going to take the guy who's in the 4th spot.
Would you look at the record too, though?
That's the 4th spot.
Okay. No,
but that's what I'm saying.
I'm making your point.
But that's the 4th spot. So you're gonna take that because the numbers of the guy who's in 11 doesn't actually dominate. Like if Zion was averaging 32, then it's like, okay, I get it. I get that. But the fact that he's averaging 1.5 points over a guy whose team is actually a playoff team is kind of doesn't make sense. It's just that's what I said. It's a flawed system because it's inaccurate. It's tricky.
It's tricky.
It's not even tricky.
I think this too for Booker's situation. Phoenix in 4th. Chris Paul is having a bounce back year, whatever you want to call it, and he's been great. Give him all that respect. He deserves to make All-Star. We agree on that. What are you looking at numbers for? You don't agree with that? Okay, wait a second before you answer. It's the fact that you have the presence of Chris Paul taking some attention and some votes potentially away from Booker.
Votes? What do you mean votes? Coaches' votes? It depends. It depends it depends.
On what?
Here we go. If we go in the West and say, who is the best player in reserves? Of course, Anthony Davis.
Dame.
Anthony Davis over. So Anthony Davis is going to be second?
Sure.
So Dame is number 1?
Yes, Dame is number 1 to me.
Okay.
And also he's playing an available Anthony
We're
Davis.
just talking about just period. Just when before.
In general, I'll still take Dame.
Okay, so Dame is the best player
in the reserve.
At the reserve. Anthony Davis. Who's actually number 3?
Do we still get to count Devin Booker? I mean, yeah.
Okay, so that's where I had him. I said, as of right now, he is when it comes to reserves, he is the 3rd best player. 3rd, you can argue 4th, behind PG if you want to, but you can say say Booker is probably the 3rd best player. Zion is pushing 4 or 5 also. So the reason that there's this big thing around snubs and they never get it right. So if you look at how the starters are picked, you have 2 guards and 3 front court players is how they do it. Well, the coaches don't actually vote like that. The coaches are told to vote, give us your top 7, right? So give us your top 7. So therefore, you're gonna write your 7, how they bust your ass, basically, is how you really do it. So most likely, when they got to voting, those coaches, you're gonna go Anthony Davis, Dame, Booker, Zion, you're gonna go Zion, PG, you're gonna go Donovan Mitchell, like that. That's gonna be your group. That's gonna be your group. So now this is the problem with how the coaches are voting. versus when it gets out of the coach's hand, then what's done. See, so we're looking at like, how did the coaches get it wrong? Well, technically the coaches didn't get it wrong. The coaches took their 7. So what ends up happening is now someone else says, all right, we're gonna take 3 guards and 4 front court people. Which now you have a dilemma. Because if you have, 15 coaches, right? You have 15 coaches. Let's say Dame got 15. Let's say Chris Paul, but should I say Chris Paul got 15? Let's say Donovan Mitchell got 13. Let's say Booker got 14. You got someone else sitting with 8 votes, someone sitting with 3 votes, someone sitting with 2 votes.
Okay.
What they do is they say, all right, our 3 highest scoring votes and guards we're taking. So we're gonna take Donovan Mitchell, we're gonna take these 3. Boop. Then you're like, well, hold on. This team is number 1. We need a player from there. All right, we're gonna take this guy out, put this guy in. So Donovan Mitchell could have had less votes, but because it's team number 1, gives him priority. Push him in, right? Now you have someone like Booker who, if you have 15 coaches probably voted for him. So you have a guy who got voted by every coach. But hold on, the guard position is already taken out. Now let's go to the forwards. Well, we can't use number 15 anymore. He's out. Let's go to the forward position. Who got the most votes as forwards? Front court players. So now you're sitting, a guy who's out, who got voted by every coach, is out of the All-Star, and now you're going to a guy who possibly got 3 votes. But because there's no competition in that power forward position, he gets in. And that's what ends up happening. So in a sense, the coaches is not looking at what place anyone's in. Someone else is doing that. Mm-hmm. And that's where the algorithm is.
Okay, so wait, hold up. Let's stop the music right there. We're in the matrix now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's the fan vote for starters, the coaches pick the reserves, but there's another layer to it.
There's another layer.
A few rungs down the ladder that is going to change this whole.
Yeah,
you're calling it a reserve algorithm.
Yeah. The reserve algorithm. And that reserve algorithm is basically that. It's I get this list and I need 3 guards and 3 forwards. Now, with those 3 guards and 3 forwards, because there's 7 players, I'm gonna take the top 3 guards. But now if these are the top 3 guards and votes, okay, this guy is 4th, but his team is number 1. I gotta reward the winning. So I gotta reward the winning. And then one of these guys who have top votes got to get pushed out. And the same thing with this guy's number 1. He has decent numbers. He gets in. That's why if you look at the top 2 teams, they got 2 players in. Those 2 players that's in, they're not necessarily dominating. One of the players are on both teams. The second one is not really. You're not really dominating the game. You're not really doing what All-Star's doing. You're just on the team because your team is number 1. So they're rewarding you. So not the coaches, someone else is doing the rewarding here. So that's how you can have.
But wait. Doesn't that make sense? You reward a good player on the best team than what you said before about the guys that are on teams that are in 10th or 11th place.
True, but your numbers still have to make sense. Like your game has to make sense. We're talking about all-stars. That means you're playing like an all-star. You're not hiding behind team success. That's not an all-star. An all-star is doing what all-stars do. It's the best 24 players playing. Can't keep in this theory.
So we're here now.
Mm-hmm.
We're here now. How do we fix it?
personally, I would put the spotlight on the coaches. So what ends up happening is it should be electronic.
Make their votes public.
Make their votes public. So now when they push that button, boom, you can clearly see who every coach's vote. That's why you've never seen the coaches list. Because everyone will have questions. How is this guy with the third most coaches votes, but it's not in this All-Star game? So now if you make the coaches' votes public, whoever does the altering can't alter anymore. You can't alter. So if Rudy Gobert only got 3 votes, you can't just, because his team is number 1, you just can't slide him in there because everyone's looking. He got 3 votes. No one voted for him. Because at the end of the day, it's the best. Your All-Star is the best players.
It should be, and I get what you're saying. I like where you're going, and maybe someday we'll get there. Maybe. I think what they did last year with Team LeBron versus Team Giannis, and you pick your own out of the pool of players, what did that come down to? We just want to see the best players play together.
Yeah.
Didn't really care about positions. Embiid makes it because he's very good, not just because he's the big that needs to make it. Guys get in there. The snubs are going to happen. That is the thing that needs to be fixed.
But it's happening because they're trying to categorize and limit it. You're trying to say, all right, on the reserves, we're going to take 3 and 4. Now, what if in the reserve pool, the guards, the top 5 players are all guards? 2 of those guards get snubbed.
So why not just...
So two of those guards would get snubbed by mediocre players.
Right, and I think if you look at the guys that we're all putting in these snub pools, it's a lot of guards. Because why? The game is dominated by guards. There's a lot of talent. We're in an era of a lot of guard talent right now.
But that's the problem. You're trying to position, like you have everyone run around talking about it's positionless basketball, and then you're snubbing guys in positions. You're positioning them when you need to snub them because you're like, oh, we need 3 guards and 3 form players. Well, I just thought we were all basketball players at this point. You know, but now you're purposely picking people because, well, we don't have no big. Well, I thought this was positionless. I can be a big.
And it kind of happens with the start. I mean, you look in the West, you have Luka, you have Steph, and you have LeBron. Basically all playmakers, point guards, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, you got 3 big
guards. But not
guards.
exactly the definition of what their position is. They're their own position.
Yeah, well, but even with All-Stars, you as an NBA, you have to, because it's not positionless still, you have to manage who's who. Remember, LeBron was point guard last year. What was he this year on that voting? Forward. Yeah. Because he will take out who? Luka or Curry. Where are their teams?
And then where's Steph?
That's what I'm saying. Where is Golden State? Golden State is 8th, Dallas is 9th. So that means Luka or Steph possibly could have got snubbed. More Luka than Steph this year. But that's what I'm saying. So you have to manage, but that's why AD don't make it. Because now AD has to run up against LeBron and Kawhi now. When last year, he didn't.
And that's the rule of basketball. The talent figures it out. Look at Brooklyn, right? Kyrie's a point guard. They get Harden. Now Harden's a point guard. They'll figure that out.
You would think that just period, just say that, like, I don't know why it's like you took out the center because you were mad with Zaza Pachulia almost made the All-Star game. Yeah, because of the votes, because he has no competition. So you get rid of that to make it a third forward. Then won't you just say the top 5 most popular votes then? I mean,
and we start with 5 guards.
If our top 5 is all guards, our top 5 is all guards. Like, how are you justifying that, okay, this guy has 5 million, and then the third guard has 4 million, and he's out, but the forward's got 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. It doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you got a guy with 4 million, he has to now try to fight as a reserve because the 2 guys in front of him in his position got $5 million. But the other 5 players that's going in front of him are under him in vote in popularity. You know, so it's still, that's what I'm saying. It's not a, it's still not quite how it's supposed to be.
But let's say this, an all-star game is exhibition. It's a popularity contest. So let's just make it fun and make it what people want to see, which it was probably too much of that the year, was it like 3 years ago when Steph laid down on the floor?
Yeah, I mean,
we got to bring that back a little bit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's still not pulling the best. It's like the starters.
We want the best players.
Look, when the fan voting happens, it's not necessarily some years it's not the best 5. It's the most popular 5. So, you know, if you're just a popular figure and you don't make it that year, I mean, you're not playing, you know, you're not playing at the par.
Yao Ming was making it for years and not even playing.
Yeah, but, you know, but his popularity pushed him there.
Right.
You know, that's what happens. You know, but when it comes to reserve, you have to reward the best players at that point. You can't keep trying to trick the system and say, all right, we're gonna pick this guy because you know he's winning and he's the second best player on the team and their team number 1, so they get granted they get it's like you're granting the first place team 2 guys. Like you can't do that. But that's what ends up happening. It has nothing to do, like some years they try to reward winning, some years they don't. But it's like just make the votes public so we can see actually how you guys are voting. So we can all sit here and do this. Okay, so yeah. I knew he was gonna pick those guys. And you get to watch it. That should be just like the lottery. The coaches pick. So now we can see there ain't gonna be no snubbing, there ain't gonna be no what's the naming. And you get to really see. So you can stop having these talented players sitting, and you got a guy who's sitting on the sideline averaging 27, 4, and 9, you know, carrying his team, and then a guy in front of him is averaging 21, 9.
We need receipts. All right, so I'm gonna do this to you. We'll do some Ask Agent Zero. So I did some homework on you.
Mm-hmm.
I did some research. We had All-Star years, 2005 in Denver,
Yes,
2006 Houston.
Yeah, sir.
Hey, who sang the national anthem that year?
When?
Houston, 06.
Houston?
Yeah, it's good trivia.
Why do I care?
Okay, it's Beyonce, Destiny's Child. You remember that? Okay, anyway. Okay, what was your lifetime average in the All-Star game?
My lifetime average?
Mm-hmm.
What is a lifetime average? You mean
scoring
my
average?
2, 3?
Yeah, 5.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't shoot the ball like that.
Yeah, what happened?
I didn't shoot the ball like that. I was resting. I was just there. I was like, okay.
Career high 8 points, man. 07, that 07 team as a starter.
Okay. What's up?
Just resting?
Yeah, just happy to be there. I wasn't going out there trying to score.
Well, normally for you would be like, I don't care who's on the court with me. I'm going to shoot this thing.
Well, one year. Okay, you got to remember, the first year, just very excited.
Yes.
Just very excited. Second year.
Houston.
That was the Detroit year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So they froze you out a little bit.
Yeah. I'm damn near the last person to come off the goddamn bench in that year. I think it was me. I think me and Joe Johnson were just sitting there like, this some bull right here, bro. I can't wait to play these motherfuckers in regular season. I'm gonna bust their ass for this one. You know, and that was that year.
Yeah.
And then my third year is I'm starting, and Eddie Jordan's my coach. And because I remember the first play was a backdoor for Dwayne Wade, lob, and I shot a 3, made that. Uh-huh. And I mean, I think I damn near shot as much as Iverson did.
Wait, you made that first 3?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I seen footage where it went wide left.
The one where I said I'm gonna shoot, you ain't Kobe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just another play.
I don't know. I remember Marv Albert saying Arenas wasted no time getting a shot there.
No, I shot like I had the same amount of shot attempts as Iverson. Yeah, I was putting him up. Just had 8.
How does this work? You guys come together. It's a really quickly practice, right? It's not really practice, but how do you decide who gets the ball? In all-star games, everybody's a star, right? Most guys are scorers, or we know that. Big personalities and egos. How do you decide amongst yourself who's going to get the ball? Or do you just take it?
You just play. You're just playing. And then at some point, the person who's chasing for the trophy emerges, and then you either help or not.
You're gonna help, like give him shine.
So like, okay, let's say, all right, let's say we're playing. Let's say Wade comes out and he has 17 in the first half, so he's leading in that. So for the most part, as a team, he's going to be with the ball majority of the time. You're going to still get your open shots, but you're not going to be, unless you start getting some easy fast break layups to catch up. Other than that, he's in the front league. All we're doing now is just trying to win. And then if there's like this one-on-one matchup, you respect it.
Yeah, there's always that game within the game of one-on-one matchups. Mm-hmm. But then it's the jump shooters, right? The Ray Allen or Devin Booker, whatever. They're just consistently stroking. But they might put up the numbers, but the guy that shows out is alley-oops, steals.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Because the game is going so fast, because I remember I won MVP of the rookie sophomore game. Mm-hmm. I had 2 points at the half. And I got mad because Hubie benched me and said I wasn't taking the game serious. So he benched 2 of us, said we wasn't taking the game serious. So I remember I hit Jamal Tinsley, said, man, when you get in, give me this goddamn ball, bro, it's over. Mm-hmm. And he was feeding me. And
how come you never did that?
And he just
years?
Because I got benched. I got benched and got mad and said, yo, give me the ball. I got this.
You weren't just happy to be there.
And then he gave me the ball, and I just took over.
Yeah.
Took over, had 31. So I had 29 in the second half, something like that.
So you go with the hot hand, too.
I was determined to prove him that, Mm-hmm. I thought this was all-star. I thought we was having fun, but since you benching people now, all right, this is a personal problem. Mm-hmm. Now you just made it personal. Other than that, you're just out there trying to have fun, and it's if you hit your first 4 or 5 shots, I'm pretty sure that's when I never went into the game like, I'm trying to get that MVP this year. I'm wide.
I'm get the card.
I'm happy. I'm just, it's all-star time, yo. Who gonna be in the crowd this year? I was one of those.
You didn't remember it was Beyonce.
Yeah. I was snubbed that year, bro. I was snubbed that year.
That was that year?
Remember, that was the year that I went an all-star, and I'm like, I'm the East Coast assassin. I can't wait this shit over with. Somebody gotta pay. Mm. That was that year.
Okay, that makes sense.
I didn't care about no goddamn all-star at that point. Let's get this shit over with. Who's our first game? East Coast. Yeah, you in trouble.
Well, here's the thing about all-star that everybody remember. There's politics to it that we've gone through that we know. There's the business side of it. Because for a lot of guys, there's a roster bonus. There's a bonus if you make the all-star. In their contract.
You probably, right? I mean, if you have a shoe deal and they put all-star vote in, I mean, in your NBA contract, it's not, unless they make it incentive-based, that usually isn't in your contract. I mean, obviously it helps. So when you renegotiate,
it helps for your next one. Helps for Hall of Fame, all that stuff.
But again, like if Trae Young never makes another All-Star because he's getting snubbed, he's still a max player. He's still right. Max. It'll
still be fine. But at the end of the day, it's a show that people want to just see their favorite players on this weekend. And I know this year, some guy said, like, do we really even need one? You're going to say what?
I think the issue with players coming out saying, do we need an all-star? It's not that they don't want to be all-stars and play an all-star game. What is the circumstances? Are we going to be sitting here bubble and we can't have fun and we can't do this and you're going to be these strict rules and like if you're going to do that, we don't want to. It's one of those. It's not like if this is going to be a normal, we can actually go to dinner and go out and do this and we don't have to fall through these restrictions of don't hang out with nobody. You're gonna have to if we have to do that, then I don't want to be a part of it. I mean, think about it. Like this is my vacation. This is technically my,
my week off.
My little, I don't really have to think about the game like that right now, and I can prepare and get ready for the second half of the season. This is get a couple drinks if I need to. I ain't really gotta be on my healthy eating. This is. So the fact that if I can't leave my room, I can't do this, I don't want to be there. That's what I said in All-Star, my All-Star weekend, I rested. I sat in the hotel, watched movies, just enjoyed that whole vibe. I didn't go to the clubs, I didn't party.
Yeah, and I think this year, initially, they said because of the bubble, the quick turnaround to this season, getting it in, wasn't gonna be an All-Star. And I don't think anybody really had a problem with that. We understand. But then, and then you think about it, it would be nice to have that.
I don't want to, I'll be honest, I don't want to, average, 30 this year, lead the league in scoring, be Bradley Beal.
And not get recognized for it.
Or Zach LaVine, and they be like, all right, we're not having All-Star this year. You're like, what?
Yeah, I think
this is my 110. I know you're gonna give me that note, goddamn. I don't give. You're gonna put that All-Star under my belt.
I think that's the best thing about this year. Guys like Brad, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, they're getting recognized for how great they've been and they're for their production. So, hats off to them. Hats off to the All-Stars. Mm-hmm. Have a good time in Atlanta.
Yeah,
it's gonna be different this year, but we're glad they did it. We're glad they came through with it. Who made it? Hats off to you. Mm-hmm. Who got snubbed? That happens. It sucks, but we're gonna fix it going forward.
Yep.
Rewrite the algorithm.
We're gonna keep fighting to get it fixed going forward.
All right. There it is. Always a fighter, Gilbert Arenas. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Big Ticket one more time.
Big T.
And that Vegas All-Star Weekend. I was there too. Wish I knew you back then. You wouldn't have been out though.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been out.
Yeah. That's all right. I did see MJ playing poker.
For real?
Yeah. Where else would you see? And MJ in Vegas.
Facts.
Fun weekend.